cool teacher loses my documents in order to give away my spot in a program. I don't know if this counts as malicious compliance, but I was just reminded of a story from 15 years ago. Back when I was a junior in high school. My high school had a dual enrollment program with a local college, where if you had enough credits your senior year, you could attend high school for half the day, then attend college classes the latter half. The best part was the school would pay for some of the tuition. This was not a program that was advertised, as the school only had a few slots available. The teacher that oversaw the program was the gifted program teacher, so it was pretty much available to only the students in the gifted program, which didn't include me. However, my mom was an aide at the school and learned about the program. We knew it would fill up quick, so the first week of school, I went down to the gifted program to inquire. The teacher of the gifted program was one of cool teachers in school. He would constantly pop into other classes and hang with various teachers. He probably had the best job at the school, because the gifted program was a joke. I had some friends in it, and they would go there and mess around on the computers, watch videos, play games, eat snacks, whatever high schoolers do. All they had to do was big project for the end of the year, on whatever they wanted. It was all children of doctors and lawyers for the most part. When I approached the teacher for the first time about the program, he became a bit standoffish and told me he didn't think I had the credentials because I didn't have any AP classes or something along those lines. I knew the program was available to anyone with enough credits, so I pushed him on it, and he eventually gave me a stack of forms to fill out. I had to get proof of vaccinations, signatures from both my high school counselor and the admissions of the college, my transcripts, etc. It's essentially like applying for college. So, I did all of those things within the first month and got the papers back to him. He seemed surprised, and said I was the first one to get the forms back to him. However, there was one last form that he needed to sign off on. And as luck would have it, he couldn't find the form right now, so I should come back later, once or twice a month, for the entire school year. I would stop into the gifted program to see if he had the form available and if there was anything else he needed, and to confirm that yes, the students in the program just messed around in there all day. Every time, same thing. He didn't have it available. I should have realized what was going on, but I was 16 and stupid. Now I'm older and still probably pretty stupid. Cut to May, the last full month of school. I stopped in and told him I really needed the form signed, because it was time to sign up for next year's classes. He looked me right in the eye and told me he had no idea what I was talking about. I reminded him of the dual enrollment program, and he told me that he doesn't have any of my paperwork. When I told him I've been stopping in every month, he went as far as to say he had never even seen me before. My jaw fucking dropped. He said, if I wanted to try to enroll in the program, I'd need to have the paperwork into him by the end of the week, as there weren't many slots left available, and hands me the giant stack of papers he gave me at the beginning of the year. I was fucking livid. I realized at that point that he was clearly holding slots for lazy gifted program students who didn't get their papers into him yet. If he needed the papers completed to him ASAP, I was going to get them to him ASAP. It was before first period, and I immediately went to the guidance office to start that process. When my counselor was filling out my forms, he even asked, "Didn't I do this for you already?" Quote, luckily, I knew what else I needed to do, since I had gone through it once before. My doctor's office was right by the high school, so I raced over there to get the necessary forms. Again, I called the admissions at the college and found out they were still open. So I sped over there and had them sign off on everything else. I then went home and filled out all the remaining paperwork. Lastly, I made a copy of everything. The next morning I went back to the gifted teacher with my completed documents. I wish I could say that I said something cool to him. But I just gave him the documents and said I needed that paper signed. Now it was his turn to drop his jaw. I remember how shocked he looked. He thought he would give me this big stack of paperwork, thinking I wouldn't get it done in time, and he'd have an open slot. The first thing he said was that he would have to fill out his last form, and that I should come back at the end of the day. I told him no. I want it signed so I could take it to the guidance office. Or maybe make a copy at the library. Memory is a little fuzzy. But I remember telling him I needed it signed now. So he slowly sat down at his desk, pulled open his cabinet, and instantly pulled out the form. Fucking dude knew where it was the whole time. He signed off and I did whatever I needed to do with it. The next year, I was in high school from 8 o'clock to around 12:30. Then went to my college class after. The class was only on Tuesday and Thursday. So every other day, I just got to go home early. It was amazing. I heard from a friend in the gifted program that so-and-so was trying to get into the dual enrollment program too, but couldn't because all of the slots were full. Snooze ya lose, I guess. TL. Doctor, cool, high school teacher, loses my application for a program so that he could save a spot for one of the students in the gifted program. Asked me to redo all the documents. So I did. That guy was a major awe. Can you imagine what kind of shit person it takes to discourage a young student who is showing initiative? Too bad the counselors didn't give him grief over the previous paperwork. I hope you learned a valuable lesson. Always make copies of important forms before turning them in. Most of the time you won't need them, but when you do you'll be glad you have them. Sounds to me like maybe he was taking donations from the rich kids' parents for special treatment. The life lesson here is always make copies of everything. That way, when the other person misplaces your paperwork, throws it away, or claims you never turned it in, you have proof that you did. Or at the very least you don't have to compete it all again. Glad you did get into the program. What a douche that teacher turned out to be. Our high school newspaper advisor gave the journalism prize of a $2,500 scholarship to her niece, who wasn't on the newspaper and didn't attend our school. 40 years and I'm still pissed about that. I went Ivy League on a partial scholarship later though, so wherever she is, suck it bitch. I promise the other teachers hated the cool teacher too. This is awful. My son did dual enrollment and completed his college classes at night because of transportation issues. The high school paid and he finished his 4-year degree in 3 because of all the credits. Saved a bunch of money in tuition and room and board. Damn, I was hoping there would be some kind of revenge at the end. What an awe this teacher was. Take the win. When I was at the University of California, Santa Cruz, I had to get a form filled out that required 6 signatures. UCSC is both insanely beautiful and terribly hilly. The advisor suggested that it would take weeks to do this paperwork. I remember strategically working my way around campus, gathering the signatures. I had the completed form back to her by the end of the day. I will never forget the shocked look on her face. I was a Navy brat and we moved a lot, so I saw this kind of thing constantly. There were special kids in every school who were put in AP classes, helped with college admissions, etc. The criteria wasn't best or brightest students. It was family wheeler plus certain athletes. The rest were presumed to have a future as blue collar. It was ludicrous. The cool teacher is generally a dork in polite society. I've lived in a town where the kids of the town elite always were in the gifted program and had all the best of everything, including teachers pressured by the admin to give in on grades and everything else. Doesn't surprise me at all. When applying for U.S. Army PA program, I had to go through certain channels. No shit. I turned in my huge packet of papers to this one captain. CPT. Waited some months not hearing from him. So I called him up. Hey CPT. This is Sergeant No People. I'm calling about my PA school application. He replied that he'd lost the packet and I'd need to reapply. Copies were not acceptable. So I reapply. Several months later, I call. He replies, I'm sorry to tell you that I really did lose this application. Me. Say what, sir? He then told me that he shit-canned everyone's first packet. His reasoning was that if you don't have the gumption to reapply, you're not going to make it through PA school anyway. I then reapplied again, but hand-carried my application around to the various offices, not leaving until I had original signatures on all of my paperwork. I then took the packet to this CPT and let him know that his continued life depended upon it going to the right people, though correct channels, in a timely fashion. He said, SGT no people. You can't threaten a superior officer like this. I replied to the CPT. I can and did. You choose. He did. I got accepted. And now, 35 years after my first application, I'm retired. I commend your perseverance. I did dual enrollment in HS. There was no cap nor fees. School district even covered books. Note: this wasn't a rich district whatsoever. You could even work it to have your entire senior year at college and graduate with your associates for free. Guess he wasn't that cool. I remember working really hard on an art assessment and it came out beautifully. Handed it in and was accused of having my mother do it for me. Got a C. Lowest pass possible. It became the last time I tried.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.